This might be understating it, but it's an absolute train wreck in Boulder, Colorado currently, because you got guys decommitting, flipping their commitments left and right, and to go on top of that, they're not just some random Joe Schmoes. We're talking about 3, 4, and 5-star recruits. And here is the scary, and I mean the really scary part about all of this for Colorado fans. I think this is just the start and more is to come. One thing I've learned in my many years of living on this earth is that everybody, and I mean everybody, loves you when you're winning, and they love to hang around you and talk about you and etc. Everybody loves to be associated with winning, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's human nature. But, and I have an extremely big but, you better believe this, when you start losing and you continue to lose and lose and lose, those same people that were around when you were winning, well, 98% of them, they're going to leave. You're going to have a couple day ones and your friends and family stick around, but for the most part, everybody's not just going to leave too, they're also going to laugh at you. And I think a large majority of the people that are part of our community, you're one of two things. Either A, you currently play sports, or B, you did play sports in high school or at some point in your life. And I think every single one of my athletes can attest to this. If you're on the football team or basketball team and you're winning games, all the girls want to talk to you. Everybody likes you. The teachers, they're a little easier on you. Everyone in your hometown, they're coming up to you. It's awesome. It's amazing. If you're on the football or basketball team and you're winning games, you're pretty much like a mini celebrity, at least in your hometown. I hope that was a good perspective and example, so people like me and you, we can relate to this. I say all that to say this. The winning and all the fun and all the antics and hoopla about Deion Sanders in Colorado, it's gone. It's way gone. It's in the past. It's no longer sunshine, rainbows, and butterflies. It's straight up thunderstorms and misery. It's gotten to the point where these players don't even want to play anymore, and a bunch of guys are quitting on the team, but that's a different video for a different day. I'm going to give y'all a quick refresher here. Y'all remember when Colorado got that huge win over TCU, right? Then they followed it up with a dominating performance over Nebraska. That was only 8 to 10 weeks ago, and what happened after that? Not only was the media praising them, but they was getting all these commits left and right. All these 3, 4, 5-star recruits like, oh yeah, Colorado, they're definitely on my list. They're at the top. And why these kids do that? Come on now, let's not act dumb. Same thing we talked about at the beginning of this video. They want to be associated with winners. Everybody saw how much fun they were having. They're doing all this antics. They got the swagger, they got the moxie, and on top of that, they're winning games. But then guess what happened? Good old reality, it started to set in. And look, I tried telling people after that TCU, Nebraska, and especially after that Colorado State game, I was like, man, eventually they're going to start losing games because y'all know I predicted them to go 5-7. I never backed away from that for a split second. There's a thing in this life called the law of average. You should know what it means, but I'll give you a real brief summary here. With anything in this life, not just with football, but with anything, you got to understand it's not always going to be great, and it's not always going to be bad. It's going to average out. But moving along here, as we all know, ever since that Colorado State game, it's been a downhill slope for the worst. And you're very fortunate you somehow, someway didn't lose that Colorado State game. I'll leave it at that. But getting back to our focal point here, actually, you know what? Let me pull up their record just to show it to y'all real quick. Starting out the year at 3-0, but then they lost to Oregon in that complete and straight up beatdown. But even though they lost to Oregon, all the recruits that Colorado was going after was like, you know what, it's Oregon, they're really good. Yeah, we lost by a lot, but it doesn't matter if you lose by 100 or 1 point, it's still just one loss. It's like, all right, no big deal. Then you lose to what is now a mediocre at best USC team. At that point, it's like, okay, we weren't expected to beat USC and Oregon anyways heading into the season. No big deal. Then you get a struggle win over a bottom feeder Arizona State. And after that, it's where it's been really bad. You lose to Stanford, one of the worst teams in the nation, in double overtime. You blow the, what was it? I believe, if I'm not mistaken, 29-0 lead. Then you lose to UCLA, lose to Oregon State, lose to Arizona, and most recently get completely beat down by Washington State 56-14, and it could have been worse. You're lucky Washington State caught off the dogs because for a second there, I thought they were going to put up 80. And after every single one of these losses, you could feel it, and you could see it on social media. The hype was dying down. It has now gotten to the point where people are even embarrassed to be associated with the Colorado football team. They don't even want to talk about them. But most importantly, now what you've seen happen in the past couple of weeks is these recruits that Colorado at one point in time had committed to them because they started out 2-0, 3-0, even they're backing off. Because now they're seeing, man, this Colorado team flat out sucks. I don't want to be a part of this team next year. Yeah, it was cool that they started out 2-0 and 3-0, but these recruits are seeing in live time, it was a fluke. That's what it was. I'm calling it for how it was. Colorado starting out 2-0, 3-0, whatever you want to call it. Give them their respect. They won the games. We already did that, but it was a fluke. They fooled us. That's all it was. And also, we thought TCU was going to be way better this year, and they just aren't that good. And realistically speaking, we should have known after that Colorado State game that Colorado was not good. But they won, so a lot of us, including me, gave them the benefit of the doubt. And with everything I've just said, I know it was a lot. I know it was a big build-up. We're now to our current point where these recruits, they're decommitting. I didn't report on this originally because I just didn't want to talk about one recruit leaving because I know eventually more would. About a week ago, Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, whatever you like to call him in Colorado, they lost a prestigious 5-star wide receiver. And here's what he had to say about decommitting from Colorado. Quote unquote, I don't know if Prime will still be there when I get there. That's why he decommitted. What exactly did he mean by that? Don't know because I don't really think Deion Sanders is going anywhere anytime soon. To me at least, and this is just me, this is the scapegoat. This quote right here, it's a scapegoat and it allows the excuse for saying, oh yeah, Colorado sucks. I don't want to go there anymore. That's all there is to it. I'm reading between the lines on this because there's no way anybody for a split second would think that Deion Sanders is going to leave Colorado after year one. There's been some rumors and speculation going on, but come on, man. Anytime there's a new job opening, Deion Sanders, he's going to be thrown in there because it's Deion Sanders. So he lost a 5-star right there, and that is a huge and detrimental loss. I don't care that it's Colorado losing a 5-star. Every single school out here, if you lose a 5-star recruit, that's big. But guess what? There's more to this because yesterday, a interior offensive lineman, I can't emphasize this enough, an offensive lineman, 3-star recruit, he flipped. He was already committed to Colorado. He flipped and decided to go to Missouri. He's only a 3-star, and I think this is a way bigger deal than losing a 5-star because that was a wide receiver. We've seen it. Colorado has great skill position players. They need offensive linemen. This was a guy they didn't want. They just wanted that 5-star wide receiver. No. This is a guy they needed, and you lost him. This is arguably one of the biggest flips and decommitments in the nation currently. And it's not because he decided to go Missouri. That's a good pickup for Missouri. But it's because Colorado needed him. There's not many offensive linemen you can go after. It's going to be easy to convince these skill position players to go to Colorado. But offensive linemen, no. And here's another thing you got to pay attention to. These offensive linemen, and I think this is the main reason he decided to flip his commitment, they don't want to play with other terrible offensive linemen. Because when you surround yourself with people that are lesser than you, it's going to make your performance look worse. That's what I think it came down to for Talon Chandler here. He's like, you know what? I don't think I can turn around this offensive line by myself. I'm going elsewhere. This is a great decision for him because if I was an offensive lineman, why would I even consider going to Colorado? And for those of y'all that think Deion Sanders will be able to miraculously fix this offensive line unit in one offseason, you lost your mind. They're going to be bad next year as well. The odds of you finding 5 to 6 to 7, because you're going to need some backups here and there, but let's just say the odds of you finding 5 great offensive line, we're not even great, just average offensive linemen in one offseason, slim to none. And I'm telling you right now, if me, myself, I was an offensive lineman, I wouldn't even consider going to Colorado. Why would I? Do y'all remember only a couple months ago, Coach Palm called out his offensive line. He threw him under the bus completely and said, oh, yeah, we're getting new offensive linemen. These aren't good. That's pretty much what he said. He said, yeah, we got to make change at the offensive line. I'm going in the portal. I'm getting new guys. Granted, I know some of you are going to say, well, Matt, that's the cold hard truth. It is, but you don't throw them under the bus to the media. That's something you say to other coaches, not to the media. It was a bad look, and I think that weighed into this guy's decision. He probably was like, well, man, what happens next year if I go to Colorado and I do bad? Is Deion going to throw me under the bus? I mean, think about it. If you're an offensive lineman and Deion's recruiting you and you just saw him throw the current offensive line under the bus, don't you think if you played bad, he'd do the same to you? That's just logical thinking. That's common sense. It's no different if you're talking to a girl that has a boyfriend and she's cheating on her boyfriend with you. And then eventually y'all hit it off and y'all start dating. You don't think she won't cheat on you and her guy because that's how y'all met. You see what I'm saying? This might be understating it, but it's an absolute train wreck in Boulder, Colorado currently because you got guys decommitting, flipping their commitments left and right. And to go on top of that, they're not just some random Joe Schmoes. We're talking about 3, 4, and 5-star recruits. And here is the scary, and I mean the really scary part about all of this for Colorado fans. I think this is just a start and more is to come. But like they say, only time will tell. I am extremely curious. Let me know your thoughts on all of this down below. But